watched by more Arkansans than any other station. We're KATV Channel 7, the spirit of Arkansas. This is Channel 7 News at 10.
The country is still in shock after an Oklahoma City federal building is blasted apart. Could it be the work of terrorists? I'm Karen Fuller.
And I'm Rob Johnson. Over 24 are confirmed dead and hundreds of others are either trapped or missing. David Schuster is on the scene. He will have a live report in just a moment. Plus, we'll update you on the execution of Richard Wayne Snell.
But first, there have been several reports of some minor tornado damage in southwest Arkansas. Ned Permy has been tracking the storms in the Weather Center all night. He joins us now live with the very latest. Ned?
We have three particular thunderstorms that are very hot right now and continue to be that way. If you were with us earlier tonight at 6 o'clock, we showed you two what we called at the time supercells in northeastern Texas. Well, they continued to hold together and tracked all night into southwestern Arkansas, and one apparently had a tornado with it that touched down at several locations between Texarkana and Hope. And a tornado warning was just lifted for northwestern Nevada County, but also just issued in extreme northeastern Arkansas for Poinsett County right here as a thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado, indicated on Next-Rad Doppler 7 near the town of Truman. It's moving northeast about 30 miles an hour. It'll take it through Painway and Lepanto. That's in the path of this particular thunderstorm. We can zoom in on that particular thunderstorm cell in Poinsett County and show it to you a little bit better. And that is the one possibly producing a tornado. So until 10:30, a tornado warning there for eastern Poinsett County. Also, two very strong thunderstorms in the southwestern part of the state, and we'll zoom in on those if we could and put them into motion for you and show you some very strong thunderstorms in northern Garland County near Mountain Valley and Jesseville, and then one now moving into western sections of Clark County, and this is the one that has been a tornado producer possibly, and it's moving in through the town of Okolona, and as you can see with the movement, it could affect the town of Arkadelphia within the next 20 to 25 minutes. So that's the way it looks, and on top of that, another line of intense thunderstorms moving in from Oklahoma, and Texas will be affecting Arkansas later on tonight. So a lot of weather to talk about, and we'll continue to update you and talk again in just a few minutes.
All right, Ned, it looks like it will be with us for a while. Also, we did check with Texarkana, and we're told there was some minor damage, some trees down, and some power out, but the power has since been restored. We'll keep you up to date. Rob?
Since our 6 o'clock news, the state has executed a death row inmate. It was the 10th time in 5 years that such a person has been executed. 11 years ago, Richard Wayne Snell was sentenced to die. Tonight, the state followed through on this most permanent punishment. These are pictures just in of the hearse with Snell's body inside, leaving the Cummins unit. He was executed for the 1983 slaying of a Texarkana pawn shop owner. He was also convicted for the 1984 death of State Trooper Lewis Bryant. For more, let's go live to Tom Ryan, who's standing by live inside Cummins Prison. Tom, I guess the legal system offered no refuge tonight for Snell, did it?
None at all. It went to the 8th Circuit late this afternoon, Rob, in St. Louis, and at that point, Snell's attorney, they really felt they had a chance. They claiming government misconduct, but the 8th Circuit would turn it down, and on its way it went to Washington, D.C. to the United States Supreme Court. At 7:45 tonight, they too turned it down, and the execution here at Cummins was on.
Snell's attorney, Jeff Rosenzweig, met with members of the press moments before the execution, saying all legal maneuvers had been exhausted. Moments later, the state's 179th execution went off without a hitch. Snell was pronounced dead at 9:16 and had this threat for Governor Tucker during his last statement.
Governor Tucker, look over your shoulder. Justice is on the way. I wouldn't trade places with you or any of your political cronies. Hell has victory. I am at peace.
When they opened the curtain, he was staring straight at the ceiling. His face never moved from that position. He never looked over at the witness chamber. He said his piece and did not say another word after that.
What was it that led Richard Snell to his ultimate fate? It began in June of 1984, outside the town of DeQueen in Sevier County. Snell was pulled over by Arkansas State Trooper Lewis Bryant. Within seconds, the young officer was shot and killed, and later found by his family along Highway 71. Snell fled to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, and there he was shot 5 times by authorities and was transported to a Texarkana hospital where he nearly died. Roughly 4 months later, he confessed to his crime.
I know I had no malice. I had no anger. I had only remorse and sadness. Got out of my van, and I shot Officer Bryan twice from the hip.
A racist and high-ranking member of a
Wayne
white...
Snell just seconds to wipe out 2 lives, the life of a Texarkana pawn shop owner and the life of an Arkansas state trooper. It took the state of Arkansas 10 years to execute Snell, but tonight they had the final word. Rob?
Tom, were there any family members present tonight near the prison?
Can you repeat that, Rob? I'm sorry.
Tom, were there any family members near the prison tonight?
No family was present tonight.
Okay, Tom Ryan live at the Cummins unit in Varner. Thank you. Karen?
Protesters are usually expected at the gates of the prison on the night of an execution. A few did show up tonight. Channel 7's Chris May is at the gates where the protesters gathered. He joins us now live. And Chris, I understand that tonight there were not as many as were expected. We're apparently having some audio trouble with Chris May outside the gates of Cummins Prison. But again, Richard Wayne Snell executed tonight. Rob?
Now back to the devastating explosion in Oklahoma City. The death toll is still rising. When the bomb went off this morning, nearly 600 people were inside the federal building working. At least 200 people are injured. Some 300 people are still missing. For the latest, let's go live via News Star 7 to David Schuster, who's standing by in Oklahoma City with more. David?
Rob, we've just lost the IFB, so I'm not sure if we're up or not, but I'm going to assume that you just tossed it. Rob, we're having some audio problems, but I'm just going to assume that you can see us. The weather hasn't made things any easier here in Oklahoma City. Just 90 minutes ago, a thunderstorm rolled through the area. The winds picked up. It sprayed some debris on workers who were in the basement of the Alfred Murrah building, which is the building here behind me. The floodlights are on, and workers are desperately trying to find people alive in that building. There are reports that there are at least 3 or 4 people that are alive that the rescuers have located, and they're working brick by brick to try to get at people. The official death toll now stands at 29 confirmed fatalities, but as you mentioned, in Washington, the Department of Justice and officials here in Oklahoma City say there are at least 250 people that are unaccounted for. The number of children who have perished so far stands at 12. That is down from the 17 that was reported earlier. The downside of that is that there are at least 15 children from the daycare center who are unaccounted for. In Washington, President Clinton issued a statement late this afternoon expressing his outrage at this attack.
The bombing in Oklahoma City was an attack on innocent children and defenseless citizens. It was an act of cowardice, and it was evil. The United States will not tolerate it, and I will not allow the people of this country to be intimidated by evil cowards.
And we will have more on this story for you tomorrow. Again, David Schuster reporting live from Oklahoma City. Karen?
Security has been tightened at federal and state buildings across the country, including those in Arkansas. To be on the safe side, numerous precautions have been taken. The federal building has been roped off and no parking is allowed around the building, and it will stay that way until this weekend. This morning, crews did a cursory check of the outside of the federal courthouse. Precautions have also been taken at the state level. Security at the governor's mansion has been tightened, as it has at the Capitol and state police headquarters. Plenty of Arkansans donated blood today to help replenish Oklahoma City's blood supply. Volunteers from the Arkansas Red Cross are also on standby to assist in the disaster if needed. If you would like to make a contribution to the Red Cross, you can call 1-800-HELP-NOW. That number is 1-800-HELP-NOW.
Still to come, Harding University is in shock and mourning after the apparent death of one of their own.
And a fire sweeps through the downtown Goodwill Center, destroying everything. We'll have that story and also the latest on these storms coming up. Stay with us.
Channel 7 News at 10. Brought to you by Simmons First National Bank. By Harvest Foods. By Arkansas Super Chevy Dealers. And by National Home Center.
You're watching Channel 7 News at 10 with Rob Johnson and Karen Fuller, Ned Permy with weather, and Paul Eels on sports.
Pine Bluff police have arrested a suspect in the early morning death of an 8-month-old baby. Police say the baby's father brought the infant to Jefferson County Regional Medical Center around 1:20 this morning. The baby was not breathing.
All indications in this case indicate foul play. A suspect has been arrested in the case. His name is being withheld pending the filing of formal charges, and the body has also been sent to the medical examiner.
Police say they are treating the baby's death as a homicide.
In Searcy tonight, there is an air of sadness over the Harding University campus. It's believed that a woman's body found near Beebe yesterday is that of a 20-year-old student. Carla Willman was last seen Monday night at the Walmart Supercenter. Her car was found yesterday near Beebe with what's believed to be her body in the trunk of the car. Meantime, at Harding today, a memorial service was held as students gathered to mourn this sudden and tragic loss.
And Carla was always the one, motivating and encouraging. So even, those who knew her very, very well feel her loss, and those who didn't even know her that well, they feel the pain as well.
An official identification of the body is expected tomorrow. Authorities still have no motive or suspects right now.
Back in Little Rock, Goodwill Industries is a total loss at its downtown Little Rock store. Damage estimates come in at about $700,000. Firefighters got there just before midnight. They knew there was no hope for saving the building. It was fully engulfed in flames. Power to a 6-block area of downtown was shut off while firefighters spent about an hour putting out the blaze. Goodwill's director calls the building a landmark and says at least 20,000 items of clothing, furniture, and wares were destroyed. Investigators are blaming the fire on the building's electrical system. In the meantime, Goodwill is asking customers to shop at its other stores in North Little Rock and Jacksonville. They're welcoming any donations to replace the items destroyed in the fire.
As we mentioned earlier, Richard Wayne Snell was put to death tonight by the state. Protesters are normally expected outside of the prison when this type of situation is going on. Chris May has been by the gates of Cummins Prison. He joins us now live with more. Chris, tell us about it.
Well, Karen, for whatever reason, be it the inclement weather that we have seen here tonight, the overwhelming interest in the day's events in Oklahoma City, or perhaps just a lack of interest in what happened here tonight, only about 5 people came to Cummins Prison to mark the execution of Richard Wayne Snell. As we told you earlier this evening, security here has been extraordinarily tight. Each and every car that passed through this checkpoint behind us was subject to search by several of the 12 or 15 Arkansas State Troopers that were here. At around 8 o'clock tonight, the hearse that would carry Snell from Cummins passed through here, and those who would witness his execution followed about 30 minutes later. But there were several tonight who just came to be here, and here's what a couple of them had to say.
Wayne Snell, I don't think should be executed, but I'm not per se against capital punishment.
I hate that it happened. I'm sorry that it happened, but yet and still, it's still within the United States system and God to handle that. Us out here making a show and y'all out here interviewing people and taking, that ain't right.
In contrast to the scene here at Cummins, there was somewhat of a large gathering outside of the governor's mansion in Little Rock. At a candlelight vigil tonight, about 20 people protested the execution of Richard Wayne Snell. With all of his legal options exhausted, Governor Tucker was his only hope for life, but the governor denied his request for executive clemency, disappointing the people who were in front of the mansion.
I'm here tonight to represent those 28 faith communities who have made statements in opposition to the death penalty, who call for us as a society to look for better ways to deal with violent crime and violence in our cities and in our streets.
All in all, things ended rather quietly here tonight at Cummins Prison, but it was a highly anticipated day, not only for those who opposed the execution of Richard Wayne Snell, but also for the families of his victims, many of whom said last week that they were looking forward to ending this sad chapter in their lives. Karen?
All right, Chris May reporting live from Varner. Thanks.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Industrial surged late in the session. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 28 points, but declining issues led gainers 4-3.
Well, you have seen the radar. Ned has been very busy for the last couple of hours. This
Springtime
one
in Arkansas.
Worse than Monday and Tuesday.
And not only that, this is a taste. We've got a big line of thunderstorms that's going to be moving in within the next several hours into western Arkansas, and we'll show you that a little bit later. But I've got to change radar displays to show you the stuff in the west. But I do want to touch base on exactly what's going on in Arkansas right now. Best way to do that, let's take a look at the current and updated map that we have from Channel 7 First Alert, and we'll show you the counties that are affected right now. Again, Poinsett County is under until 10:30 a tornado tornado warning. However, that particular thunderstorm cell has really pretty well tracked on into Craighead County right now. Craighead County and Poinsett County under a severe thunderstorm warning, and also the tornado warning continues in effect for Poinsett County. Possible tornado was reported just to the south of Truman, moving toward the northeast toward Craighead County. Also in Clark County and also in southeastern Pike County, severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect. Golf ball size hail reported with some of these thunderstorms. This is the thunderstorm, by the way, that has had a history of producing tornadoes. As a matter of fact, unconfirmed tornado on the ground from Texarkana to Hope, periodically on the ground between Texarkana and Hope. Reports of trees and power lines down around the Texarkana area. Also large to medium-sized hail at Murfreesboro and even into Garland County near Percy and Sunshine. Also, we do have a thunderstorm warning until 10:45 for Washington County in the extreme northwestern part of the state, and a thunderstorm watch there. The area in green is under a tornado watch, covers most of southern Arkansas through the early morning hours. So we'll take a look at radar from NEXRAD Doppler 7 radar and pinpoint where these are going for. Let's take a look at our current conditions. Temperature-wise, 61 degrees this hour, humidity 84%, falling barometer, winds east at 6, and we have some thunder being heard and some lightning in the air around the Little Rock area. 70 was our high and 55 the overnight low. And with everything going on, I have not been able to update the rainfall total for you on the screen. However, I did peek, and it has been 0.07 of an inch of rain in the downtown area at our weather center since we last talked to you at 6 o'clock tonight. Well, we've talked to you a lot since 6 o'clock tonight, I should say. Temperatures around the state at this hour. Much warmer air across southern Arkansas, helping to support some of those thunderstorms that really began to blow up in Texas, and they have been moving steadily on toward the northeast. And this area, this complex, has been associated with a warm front moving warm, moist air into Arkansas. But as you see right here to our west, we have a line of thunderstorms from south central Texas all the way into Oklahoma. And this line has been steadily advancing very rapidly on toward the east, and will probably be moving into western Arkansas sometime shortly after midnight tonight. So we've got the thunderstorms in the state, and then we have another line right here that'll be affecting us a little bit later on. Let's check NEXRAD Doppler 7 radar for you, and we'll show you the thunderstorms that are going on in the state right now. First of all, this one here is the one that has the latest tornado warning with it, and you can see it's pretty well tracked out of Poinsett County. It's now into Craighead County, and it's tracking toward Bay and Lunsford, and eventually will be tracking on through Lake City. We also see this is what's left of these two supercells that, if you were with us at 6, we showed you to them in Texas, and they're still holding together pretty well. This one here from northwestern Saline County near Lake Winona will be tracking into Perry County near Perryville and Alpine, and this one also into Clark County. This one is tracking primarily toward through Okolona, through the Okolona area, and tracking toward Hollywood and Arkadelphia. And there has been a history of tornado development with that particular thunderstorm. So as it does move toward the Arkadelphia area, be aware of that. And you can see how rapidly these have been moving on and racing northeast between 35 and 40 miles an hour. And elsewhere up in Washington County, that's where that additional strong thunderstorm is at this time. And as we continue to watch these storms track, again, as I mentioned, there is a stronger possibility of additional thunderstorms, and they will be moving in from Oklahoma later on, and Texas later on this evening. Here's the map for tomorrow. We can show you that area of thunderstorms continues to rumble, and most of the focus will be in eastern Arkansas after sunrise tomorrow, and continuing to track out of the state. Low pressure will pull in drier air. We'll see some clearing by tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow night, and then yet another system will be digging into the southwest. Could affect us by Saturday. Look at the difference in temperatures, and you can see the dividing line or the clash of the air masses, and that's what's causing the strong thunderstorms to rumble across the southern plains in Arkansas tonight. So again, 70% chance of thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms possible, and remember all those watches in effect for the state, and rain and thunder showers tomorrow morning. Most of those in the eastern counties. 8 o'clock temperature reading 64, high of 78 with a 40% chance of thunder showers tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, fair skies, low temperature, and pleasant 55 degrees, and the extended forecast calls for a good chance of showers. Again, moving in on Saturday, 40% probability, highs in the 70s. Lows cool, 50s, and we'll see a cooling trend setting in by Sunday and Monday. We'll have temperature readings in the 60s, which is below normal for this time of year. Again, a very active night, more on the way as you look at Fish and Game Graph tomorrow. What I'm going to do for you, I'm going to go up and switch radars again. I had the Doppler radar on for Arkansas, but I want to show you those thunderstorms coming in from Texas and Oklahoma, and I'll switch radars and we'll update you at the end of the program.
All right. We've also been told, Ned, that there is a tornado watch for the Little Rock area until 5 a.m.
That's correct. That's Pulaski County, also Garland, Saline County. The tornado watch is in effect for Pulaski County as well.
All right, Ned. Thanks.
Ned.
We have been keeping you informed on the situation in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. David Schuster has been giving us live reports, and there is now new information.
That's right. We have some new developments, and we'll join David again live in Oklahoma City in just a moment.
This ever-changing weather. Before we get to David, let's check in with Ned. There's more information.
When I went and looked at the radar, the thunderstorm very strong through Poinsett and into Craighead County. I just showed you. A new tornado warning is now in effect from Mississippi County. Let's take a look at NextRad Doppler 7 radar. Possible tornado with this intense thunderstorm near Caraway, and this particular thunderstorm is tracking northeast and will take it very shortly through the towns of Roseland in Mississippi and also toward Manila and Dell, and then eventually, probably within the next 30 to 35 minutes, into the town of Blytheville. Possible tornado producer just moving out of southeastern Craighead County into western Mississippi County. So tornado warning is there on your screen for Mississippi County, and that will be in effect until at least 11 o'clock tonight.
All right, no doubt we'll be seeing you again, Ned. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Ned. It has been a tragic day in Oklahoma City, and things seem to be changing all the time there. For the latest, let's go back live via News Star 7 with David Schuster live in Oklahoma City. David?
Rob, the magnitude of this attack is just now starting to set in. A spokesperson for the Oklahoma City Fire Department just came out and said that based on the number of bodies that they have found in the building but have not been able to remove, they estimate at least 100 people are dead in the Alfred Murrah building. The 27 fatalities that we mentioned earlier, that's strictly the number of people that have been placed in the morgue, but they estimate between 100 and 150 people that they have located are dead in the Alfred Murrah building, and they expect that number to rise. Rob, back to you.
David, what about survivors?
Well, there are reports of some survivors in the basement of the building. There are reports that at least 4 or 5 people have been found, and they're working brick by brick to try to get to those people, but the work is very tough. There are 500-pound cinder blocks that are blocking the entrance to some of these rooms. They had a crane that was working earlier to try to survey which floors they can even get to, because structurally the building is very unsound.
Okay, David Schuster live in Oklahoma City. Thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
We'll be right back.
We hate to see all those great Razorback players leave, but they're reloading. Don't you worry. And Paul Eels has the story of another person that's joining the team.
Rob, you not often lose an almost entire basketball team and then get a whole new one to come on in. With 13 scholarships available, there are only 3 holdovers. But Nolan's new list grew to 11 players today with the signing of Marlon Towns to the national letter. Towns made the announcement at Fairleigh High School, and then he addressed his reason for choosing the Razorbacks over such teams as Georgetown, Memphis, and others.
I think I got the total package to go in and be a starter. I'm bigger than all the guys just coming in. And the only thing is a fact to kind of get myself in shape and go take care of my business.
Towns, by the way, is one of 6 guards now that will be playing for the Razorbacks for the very first time. Another reminder of the Yvonne Richardson Foundation charity basketball game Saturday night in Pine Bluffs Convention Center. Scotty Thurman, Corliss Williamson, and all of the graduating Razorback seniors will be playing along with Roger Crawford and Ken Biley. Arthur Agee of Arkansas State heads up a list of other state stars who are going to play against the Razorbacks. Tickets are $10 and can be reserved by calling the convention center at 536-9500. Danny Ford was forced by weather to take the Razorback football team inside for a while today, but not before the ball club worked for a couple of hours outside. The defense dominated the scrimmage early in the session, but the offense came on at the end, mainly, Ford said, because the defense tired. Tomorrow is an off day. Friday, shorts and shoulder pads, and then a final scrimmage on Saturday. The Travs, hoping to break out of a 5-game losing streak, got their wish tonight, playing down in Jackson. The next to the last ball game in Jackson before coming home on the 21st. Travs win it tonight by a score of 3-2. And the Travs, by the way, got a couple of new players. Pitcher Sean Lowe and infielder Dimitri Young, as the Cardinals cut their roster down to 40. Goose Gossage announced his retirement from baseball after 22 years in the major leagues. The 43-year-old pitcher was with Seattle last season, but had not been invited back to spring training. Gossage was drafted in 1970 by the White Sox and was in the majors 2 years later. He became the second relief pitcher to save 300 games, earning 310 in compiling a 124-107 record. He was a nine-time All-Star and appeared in 8 World Series games. One final note, Bridget Ludwig and partner Katie Rand won the Women's Golf Association Scramble at Foxwood Country Club today by a whopping 10 shots in that scramble. We hope that you have a safe rest of the night, and that's a look at sports.
All right.
All right, Paul, thanks.
Thanks. Lots of severe weather in the state tonight. We'll get an update when we come back.
What a night. Before we go, we want to get an update on the weather from Ned.
Again, Mississippi County under a tornado warning till 11 o'clock. The storm is still active. It was in effect till 10:45, but I believe because of its movement and intensity, we'll push it up to 11 o'clock. By that time, it should be moving through Dell and possibly the Blytheville area, so keep that in mind for Mississippi County. Next, our Doppler 7 radar. As I promised, I switched the radar scope, and I want you to look what's coming our way from Texas and Oklahoma. A line of thunderstorms moving into extreme eastern Oklahoma. They're moving very rapidly and probably will be into western Arkansas before midnight tonight. The good news is there has been a slight decrease in the intensity of that line. I hope that continues because that will be better news for the state. That line has produced several tornadoes in Texas, including one reported on the ground near Arlington, Texas tonight. So that's what we're really going to be focusing on for the next several hours.
It's awfully long. About
Yes,
that long.
A long line of thunderstorms.
And it is April. All right.
All right, Ned, thanks. Tomorrow morning at 6, we'll go back live to David Schuster via News Star 7 for an update on the Oklahoma City bombing.
Until then, keep an eye on First Alert for any additional weather advisories. Good night.
Channel 7 News at 10. Brought to you by Simmons First National Bank. By Harvest Foods. By Arkansas Super Chevy Dealers. And by National Home Center.